to his feet, throw to first. There it is! The Atlanta Braves are going to the World Series!
Back now at a joyous Truist Park where the Braves are undefeated this postseason, beat Milwaukee twice, won all three here against the Dodgers, got the 1 out of 3 they needed, as it turned out, in Los Angeles, as we welcome you to the postseason post-game show on TBS, presented by Hyundai. Bob Costas, Pedro Martinez, Jimmy Rollins, and Curtis Granderson. A lot to get to. The trophy presentation still pending. We'll be back down on the field for that in just a few moments. Guys, there's an old saying in sports, it's not who you play as much as when you play them. The Braves had the 12th best record in baseball, the worst record of all 6 division winners. Even 2 teams that didn't make the playoffs, the Mariners and Blue Jays, had more wins, but they got hot in the last 2 months. And we're going to go, before we hear your remarks about that, didn't realize it would happen this quickly, Lauren Shahadi is down on the field to take us through the National League Championship Trophy presentation. Lauren.
Bob, thank you so much. Atlanta, can you hear us? For the first time in 22 years, the World Series will be played in Atlanta, Georgia. Congratulations to the Braves. So many people instrumental in their success with us tonight. Their chairman, Terry McGurk, Derek Schiller, president and CEO, general manager and president of baseball ops, Alex Anthopoulos, and Brian Snicker, their manager. The Warren C. Giles Trophy is yours, Terry. Hold it up for all to see. Congratulations, yes.
Oh my God. Boys.
Terry, you told me you were nervous. You told me you were nervous, but you believed. What does this trophy mean for the people of Atlanta?
Oh my gosh, Lauren, we've been waiting 22 years, as you said. I'm so proud for this team, and I'm so happy for our fans. We've waited a long time, and these fans have been behind us the entire time. They deserve it as much as these guys back here.
You were 5 games back at the deadline. You went all in. What about this team made you believe?
They were playing tough the whole way. They grinded and grinded and grinded. We were right there. We were close. Terry McGurk came to me at the All-Star break and said, you got whatever you need to go make this club better. Whatever you need. And we went full speed ahead, and Snit and the guys and everybody did an incredible job. And for all these fans that came out all summer, big difference for us. Huge.
We throw around the phrase good culture, but good culture is synonymous with Braves baseball. Why does that matter so much?
I think it's a collection of everybody we have here, from all the employees, the coaches, obviously the staff, and all the players. They're the ones that build the culture. They're grade A across the board. They're incredible, and it results in wins for us.
Congratulations. Snit, get over here. Tell me about your guys.
Oh, my God. I can't say enough about this group. I was proud of them when we won the division, to get here, what they've been through this year, how they've hung in there. They've allowed themselves to be right here, right now. I mean, and I am so very proud of each and every one of them. It takes a big village to get here. Our organization, this is an organization award too, because from Terry, Alex, Derek, Mike Plant, everybody, I mean, how they support us, give us the resources, and these players, they never stop. They believe. It's a great group. It's a really cool group of guys to be around, and we did it, Braves country. Yeah.
You spent 45 years in this organization, Brian Snicker. What would you tell your 20-year-old self about this moment right now?
Oh man, you know what? I never thought it would happen, quite honestly. I mean, yeah, I mean, this is like, this is something that I seem like I sit in my room, my easy chair, and watch everybody else do. I watched it last night and was just like, God, I want to experience that. Here we are, proud of everybody here, our organization, Braves country again. Man, these guys are something else in this building. We love you.
It's a moment in time. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There is one more piece of hardware to present. Felicidades, congratulations. All yours. Brian asked if we told him. He doesn't need to know. He knows. Eddie and his translator Franco. You told me? Hi. Who is this?
My boy, my little boy.
What do you think of your dad? Great. You told me you wanted to make a name for yourself in Atlanta. How have you done it?
Que quería hacer tu nombre aquí en Atlanta. ¿Cómo has logrado eso?
Wow, mi trabajo, mi esfuerzo, de verdad que me siento increíblemente increíble, de verdad que todo para mí es un sueño, nunca se me va a olvidar en la vida.
Through my work, my effort, I mean, it's a dream come true for me. It's truly incredible. I'm never going to forget it ever in my life.
To all the kids in Puerto Rico who love this great game, who want to be standing where you are someday, what do you want to say to them?
A todo el muchachito en Puerto Rico, ¿qué mensaje le quieres decir a ellos?
Cuando yo era niño, siempre esperaba un momento así. Caminaba solo para el parque cuando tenía 7, 8 años, soñando este momento. Nunca dejé de creer en él y mira, ahora estoy aquí.
When I was a little kid, I always hoped for this moment. Walking to the park by myself at 7 years old, I would dream of this moment, and look at me now, it's come true.
Enjoy it. Felicidades, congratulations.
Guayama, Puerto Rico, de MVP, puñeta! ¡Woo!
It is not a Braves celebration, a trophy presentation without the pillar of the organization, Freddie Freeman. Charlie, Freddie, all the greats to put on this uniform. Why is it so special?
It's amazing. This organization has been around a long time. It's been a long time since we get to go to the World Series again, and this organization means a lot to me. So this is absolutely incredible. Speechless.
These fans have loved you for over a decade. What do you want to say to them?
Oh man, it's nice to do this in front of them. They came out and supported us all year. When we were just hovering at 500, they were still with us, and then we took it to a whole nother level. And what we did in the second half and so far in the postseason is because of them.
Congratulations. And congratulations to the Atlanta Braves, 2021 National League champions.
Well, guys, when you see Brian Snitker up there, along with all the high-priced stars, he is a true baseball man. I don't know that Paul McCartney had him in mind, but he might as well have when he rode a long and winding road. That's what it has been for Brian Snitker. Could have quit so many times. Back to the low minors, highest AAA, up in the majors as a coach, then back to the low minors. Could have come that close to quitting, and now here he is about to take his team to the World Series.
And it's great. You get a chance to see truly that this is a game of adjustments. You heard them say that the Braves had everything to go for it in the second half. It wasn't clicking on all cylinders in that first half, but they made the moves they needed to at the trade deadline to give them everything they needed. Freddie goes from having the 2 worst games in the series to finishing like they did, and the whole organization as a whole, 22 years it's taken them. But they have to realize, and they know, and this is a great example of it, that anybody at any time, just keep believing, keep making adjustments, and you can be there.
Jock Peterson, Adam Duvall, Eddie Rosario especially, Jorge Soler, all mid-season acquisitions by Alex Anthopoulos, remade the whole outfield, and here they are.
And it's only fitting that the 2 teams that were the most aggressive teams during the deadline were the teams that finished right here, the Dodgers and the Braves. And it's great to see, and I'm really looking forward to this series because these are 2 of the oldest managers in baseball running this team, not an analytics department. This is 2 old-timers, 2 retro managers that are going to be managing these 2 teams in the World Series.
And you know, Dusty has a connection to a number of teams. He's managed 5 different teams to division titles. but he was in the on-deck circle as a young player when Hank Aaron hit number 715 at the old ballpark here and passed Babe Ruth. So there's an Atlanta connection for Dusty Baker as well.
There definitely is, and you know he's thinking about that right now, playing with some of the greats, and now he's going to be facing the team that he once played for. And this is a testament to what baseball means. You could be in it from the time you're young until the time they basically run you out of here, and that's usually a long time if you're a great person, if you're willing to grind it out, if you're willing to make that sacrifice. And what we see tonight is Snicker going through all those battles, ups and downs, that close to quitting, always being the one in his rocking chair or his lazy boy, as he says, watching everybody else, wishing it would happen to him. He gets to feel that tonight. But they're not done. They know that, but enjoy that, and I'm glad to see these two old goats going at it.
And to finish a point we were making earlier, the Braves didn't even creep past 500 at any point in the season until early August. But from that point, they went 37-16 the rest of the regular season. Then they defeat the Milwaukee Brewers handily in the division series, and they take a team that won 18 more games than they did, 106-88 during the regular season, heavily favored, and defeat them in 6.
And it's crazy. I think the big thing is it's not how you start, Bob, it's how you finish. Doesn't matter what you've done in 162. It's not what you've done in the previous series. Who can be hot and who can be hot now? And the Braves, from their pitching, their hitting, their defense, and Eddie Rosario is arguably the best player on the planet right now. So they got everything clicking for them right now to do everything they needed to win this series.
Eddie Rosario, 14 for 25, 560, throw in 3 home runs, including one tonight.
Well, Bob, not only they had great acquisitions during the deadline, they also had the best pitcher in the second half in Max Fried. They also have the experience of Morton. They had everybody clicking at the right time. Their bullpen looked a little shaky, actually, when they were coming off the second half. But everybody got straightened out in the moment they needed, especially now in the postseason. And you saw how they took over the Dodgers, a real good hitting team. And they just manhandled everybody. Hats off to the Atlanta Braves, the best infield in probably the National League and maybe all of baseball.
Let me back up your point here about the 3 lefties combined. We're talking about Minter, Matzik, and Smith finished it off, and Matzik actually had the most important sequence with the Dodgers threatening. They pulled to within 4-2. They had second and third and nobody out in the 7th inning, and he comes in and strikes out Pujols, Souza, and Betts, boom, 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 to get them out of trouble. The total for the Dodgers against those 3 left-handers in this series, 4 for 52, that's 077, with 22 strikeouts.
And that's an exclamation point right there. If you're not able to get to those lefties, and if they happen to continue to pitch the way they did this series, I think they're going to be in great shape against the Astros too.
Precious moment right there. But yes, that's something we talked about before the game. Get it to the lefties. That is going to be the way to victory. They did that tonight. They brought in a right, didn't go well. Matson came in and he was aggressive. He did not back away from the situation. When they thought he was going to throw a breaking ball, he turned it up to 96. Another breaking ball, no, 97. And he walked away with 3 Ks. And if that is going to be the sequence that they go with, that their lefties are hot right now, you ride that out. And that isn't something you find up in a booth. Your eye test. You look at the guy's heart. Is he made for this moment? And we found that out this series.
Going back to what we said a moment ago, not so much who you play, but when you play them. The Braves, by the time October arrived, were not the team they had been for the first 2/3 of the season. And on the flip side, you look at what the Dodgers had. Now, they did win 106, but Clayton Kershaw wasn't available in the postseason. 3-time Cy Young Award winner. Max Scherzer, who'll be in contention for a 4th this year, but has won 3. Both of them headed for the Hall of Fame. But he was not Max Scherzer by the time this series rolled around. Walker Buehler may win a Cy Young someday, as may Julio Urias, but neither one of them was on his game. David Price, past Cy Young Award winner, not available to them in this postseason, though he was activated technically for tonight's game and didn't get into it. And who knows if Trevor Bauer will ever pitch for the Dodgers or ever pitch in Major League Baseball again. So by the time this rolled around, this was not the team on Atlanta's side that won 88, and not exactly the team on the Dodgers side that won 106.
That's exactly right. Baseball is a marathon. It is not a sprint. You go and you go and you go. With so many games, it's amazing how some divisions come down to 1 game and an extra playing game. The way the Dodgers started this year, there was no way in the world they weren't going to be at this point and advancing to the World Series. It was almost already written. But things happen. People get hurt. Acuna got hurt for the Braves. They made the decision to switch things up and use what we have. And who can we go get? The Dodgers were very aggressive. The Braves were very aggressive. Just so happened that you don't always have the best team advancing in baseball. You can't say that about most sports. But in baseball, the best team does not always advance. You get hot at the right time, you become world beaters. We've seen it happen before. Not that that is the case right now. The Braves are a good team right now, but they are hot. Rosario's hot. Those lefties are hot, and you ride that wave.
And you know what? I love to hear what I heard from Braves management. Go on and do whatever you have to do to put this team in this position to win. Now, on the other side, the Dodgers are going to see a lot of questions about how they handle their entire rotation and their pitching staff, especially now on these crunching days. That front office is going to face a lot of questions, and I'm sure that some of the media members are going to be digging to see how comfortable is Dave Roberts and what the future going to hold for the rest of the staff if they're going to continue to do what they did, because this was too good of a staff to finish the way they did. It was like you couldn't almost rely on anybody to go out there and say he's for sure going to be good today. We saw Buehler fail. We saw Urias fail. We saw Scherzer doing something we have never seen. So the front office and the analytics department is going to face a lot of questions, Bob.
And Roberts will be second guessed because that comes to the territory. But in fairness to him, 6 seasons, 5 division titles, and the 1 year he didn't win it, they won more games than any second-place team has ever won in the history of baseball.
Now, I wonder, is this anything about trying to repeat as champions? Jimmy, you guys won a championship and couldn't do it the next year. Pedro, you won and couldn't repeat. Anything have to do with that, trying to repeat? Is there any more pressure on you that way?
I don't think there's any more pressure because every season is brand new. You come in, you know you're the champ, so yes, you have to stand on top of that crown knowing that you're going to get everyone's best. But you have to give credit to the Braves, the way they played. You have to give credit to the Dodgers, the way they fought after, traveling, winning, celebrating, jump on another plane, switching time zones. They had to face a lot of things, and they stood up as true champions. They just came up a little bit short, but I don't think it has anything to do with repeating as much as it did their schedule and the way it worked out.
I can tell you from my own experience, normally the hangover from the World Series and the amount of times that you have to be out there, the extra time that you have to put in to win a World Series, normally drags everybody down a little bit, especially starting the season for next season.
All right, coming up after this short break, we'll have highlights and more breakdowns from Pedro, Curtis, and Jimmy.
The postseason show on TBS is brought to you by the Hyundai Santa Fe and Tucson plug-in hybrid EVs.
Hey, some tweets coming in. Josh Donaldson, congrats to the Braves. Hell of a second-half comeback. Happy that front office and the entire coaching staff. Well, you guys can read it. At home you can read it. I don't have to read it for you. There you go. And then Michael Vick, who once played here for the Falcons, also congratulates the Braves. Here we go with the highlights. Bottom of the first, Walker Buehler, because Max Scherzer couldn't make it. Buehler, on 3 days rest, gets the ball for the Dodgers. Ian Anderson opposes him for the Braves. Bottom of the first, Ozzie Albies at the plate, almost takes it out of the park, high off the wall for a double.
I think this was good, especially because it came off the fact that Ian Anderson put up a 0 at the top of the first inning.
Up comes Austin Riley. He smacks it solidly down the left field line. It takes a hop over the low fence. It's a ground rule double. Albies scores, and it's 1-0 Braves.
And that's the way you want to draw it up. A pitcher that struggles in the first inning puts up a 0. You give him some confidence by scoring 1 back and give yourself a chance to just put the pressure on the other team.
Top of the fourth, Cody Bellinger beats the shift, goes the other way. A year ago, the Braves shifted the least of any team in baseball. This year, they shifted the 4th most, and this time, it didn't work out for them. But to the bottom of the fourth, and after Travis d'Arnaud was walked, Brian Snitker decides to pull Ian Anderson and send up Ade Adrianza to pinch hit. It works out. Double down the right field line. Now Ron Washington, who's usually quite daring, takes into account that Rosario is on deck, nobody hotter. d'Arnaud not slow for a catcher, but not the fastest guy on the team. He holds him up. And what does Rosario do? Boom!
Ding Dong Johnson, and that's what the old goats would do for you. That was an instinct of an old man that had his heart feeling this, and he went and got it.
And before this at bat, you know, we were all just questioning Ron's, you know, why didn't he send him? As aggressive as he's been at the success that he's been in sending runners, we were just like, why wouldn't you do that? And also on the other side, why do you pitch to this guy? All series long, he's beat you up. Look at the postseason. He's beat up pitching, period. And you pitch that guy in a chance where you might not want to go after him.
Middle innings, Pujols fans against A.J. Minter. So does Mookie Betts. In the next inning, same story. Dodgers futility against the Braves left-handers in the pen. Seager caught looking. Will Smith swinging to end the sixth. 4 strikeouts and 2 innings of work for Minter.
And I think that's one of the most amazing things. Not only did they get outs, they got strikeouts.
Top of the 7th, Chris Taylor hit 3 home runs the other night in Los Angeles. Almost jacks one out of the park. Hits off the top of the wall. He dives in with a double. After Cody Bellinger walks, A.J. Pollock squeezes one just inside the chalk. That's a double that scores the second run and puts runners at second and third with nobody out.
And if you're a Braves fan, you got to be thinking, oh no, here we go again.
That's what Luke Jackson was thinking because he failed for a second consecutive time, but his teammates bail him out. Here's Tyler Matzik. He strikes out Pujols. He strikes out Souza looking. And Betts makes it 3 in a row.
Bob, it sounds like you were repeating the same thing that we heard a few innings ago.
And a lot better this bullpen from Atlanta than we ever thought. Because when we saw him a little shaky after the first half, we didn't think we were going to get what we're getting right now from all these lefties and the entire bullpen.
That 7th inning was the Dodgers' last best chance. A.J. Pollock grounds out to shortstop. That's the way it ended. In the 9th inning, Will Smith putting the finishing touches on it out of the bullpen. And the Braves are World Series bound. Now, for those who didn't follow all this during the entire season and tune in late, as some people do, just for October, the Braves had home field advantage against the Dodgers despite the disparity in wins because the Dodgers were a wild card. That applies within the same league. Wild card can't have home field advantage. But now, the Astros have a better record than the Braves, so the World Series will open with games 1 and 2 in Houston starting on Tuesday. Had the Dodgers won this series, they would have had home field against the Astros. Into the clubhouse.
Well, that champagne is definitely worth the burn, I'll tell you that much. The first time you go through it, you don't put your goggles on and you just don't realize what it feels like. But you have to feel at least one time, and then you start putting the goggles on and you get everybody else. This is a well-deserved celebration. I'm happy for the guys in that clubhouse, the things that they had to go through, the moves they made. And there are a few teams in professional sports that you can say the way. When I think of soccer, I think of Manchester United, the expectation. Baseball, we've always heard about the Cardinals way, and we understand what that is, October baseball. The Braves have a way. When you come here, you're expected to be professional and you're expected to win. All those things came together.
Look at that nice view over there, Rosario and Snitker together. It's just beautiful to see. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm intrigued to hear what Snitker had to say right before they went to popping the champagne. Remember, this is not over. We have to win 4 more, and then we can really say we're here. But I'm intrigued to hear what he probably said to those guys in that short, brief meeting that they probably had before they popped the champagne.
Right, absolutely. You got to tell them, hey, enjoy this moment, but we still have some work to do, and we're going up against a great team as well, the Houston Astros, and we got to get out of this ballpark. All these fans came to see us here in Atlanta, which is great, but that first game, like Bob said, is going to be on the road. We got to bring it back for our fans to see us here, and hopefully we'll be up in the series when we come back home.
Let's break down some of the elements in this game, beginning with Ian Anderson early on. Or so I thought.
Big man. Go ahead and get it. Hey!
You know, they don't really, in the clubhouse, they don't really care about that. Here we go.
There we go, starting off, putting up a 0. We talked about the struggles in the first inning, and Pedro, you talked about ways to get around that. We saw him execute that, and we saw on the other side get up 1-0. That's important. Even though the Dodgers came right back and tied it, it was important for him to get off to that start.
Yeah, and it all starts with the basic. Strike one, first out, then deal with the rest. Got out of the first inning, which is the inning that gives them problems. And I think he held the Dodgers long enough, just barely long enough, to have the relievers come over and bail him out, I think.
And he was throwing the ball very well. He did give up the 1 run in the 4th inning when Bellinger beat the shift. And then Brian Snitker, who's an old school baseball guy, but he did a new school thing. He's got a guy humming along. He pulls him for a pinch hitter in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, but he knew he had the bullpen fresh.
Oh, of course.
And they were pretty good.
Yeah, they had the off day, and they were fresh.
Exactly. So that's why he felt like he needed to go that way. I don't think anybody told him to do that. I think he did it out of his own instinct, his own experience, and that is something I tip my hat to.
And it's such an interesting scenario right there because you have a runner at first base with 2 outs, so you know it's going to take 2 hits to score that runner. So whoever you pinch hit in that time is probably not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He gets the double, and sure enough, the next hit, that second hit, finally scores that runner from first base.
And here's the thing, with first base open, even as hot as Rosario was and continued to be, Freddie Freeman's on deck. Not going to walk him.
You have to choose one. In my time, it was Chase or Ryan. You have to choose one of them. Both of them can get you. But if one guy was hot, you have to respect that. Look, I know we have Freddie, one of the best hitters in the league, especially left-handed hitter. He can drive the ball pole to pole. But as hot as Rosario is, you have to say we have to take our chance. You have to pick one. They decided to go after Eddie, and he got ahead. He got 2 strikes. But like we saw on the other side, when Belly got 2 strikes, he shortened up. He battled. He swung. He's taking big swings. He had, bad intentions in mind, and he ended up winning that battle.
Here's the whole pitch sequence to Rosario, who ends the sequence with a homer.
And keep in mind, he was down 0-2, like you said, Jimmy. To fight back into it, to give yourself a chance late in the at-bat, that's one thing I think that's going to go overlooked. But Pedro, the pitch selection right there from Buehler, anything different you would have done there?
Yes, I would have probably stayed on the pitch I can command and place in the area where I was going to stay safe. And at the same time, I can see your point of view, Jimmy, but at the same time, pitching with the bases loaded is totally different than pitching with the base open. So he had the luxury to move the ball around, and I don't know that if he had Freddie Freeman, another guy that could take you pole to pole, like you said, he was going to be able to do that. He was going to have to come to the strike zone and force the issue, and that probably could have ended up even worse.
One more sequence to look at. The Dodgers had a heck of a chance in the 7th inning. They pushed a run across. They had runners at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. Luke Jackson, who had been good for much of the season, had a tough time in this LCS, but his teammates bailed him out.
He definitely has had a tough time, but it doesn't. Baseball isn't a sport where you rely on one person. If somebody gets hot, the opportune time has to present itself. Luke just happened to get cold at this moment, but the lefties. It's been about the Braves bullpen and the left-handed pitchers, what they've been able to do to the Dodger hitters. They bailed him out, not only him, but saved the game in that moment.
Taylor double, Bellinger walk, Pollock double, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, 4-2. Jackson out of the game, Snitker goes to the pen.
Now, Jimmy, being that you switch hit and go on that right side and seeing what the righty struggles were for the Dodgers, what had to be going on, the reason why they couldn't pick up these lefty Brave arms out of the bullpen?
Sometimes it happens that way, and we've always said if you're a left-hander, you can stay in this game for a very long time. If you're a left-hander who throws hard and knows how to get out, you can become a star. And we're watching their left-handers out of the bullpen become stars. And visually, it's a lefty's ball as to a right-hand hitter is going to move away when they to the arm side. The changeup's going to go away. Then they're throwing that slider or curveball at your back foot. I don't know why it happens that way. Lefties just have a way of getting you out, it seems like, at any time they want. Then you put the pressure of the situation, the Dodgers needing to hit, knowing that they've struggled against left-handed pitching, and these guys are hot. That goes through your head, and it plays a factor.
This was a key. The 5th game was a blowout. All right, so that's the only game in this postseason out of 10 that Tyler Matzek has not appeared in. So you get a blowout and a day off. And he comes in and he is humming.
Well, it's because of the little rest he probably had. He looked really sharp today, and he's being sharp every time they use him. But they cannot run into the trick of overusing him, because if you lose that guy and you only have Smith, who's recently gotten a lot better, but the man that was doing that was Matic before Smith got hot, and Minter is also being dragged a little bit, and I think they're gonna have to be cautious, but they're gonna need Jackson to step up a little bit, and they're gonna need some other guys, because Houston is gonna give them a battle. But one thing I must say, the Dodgers did not go away easy. The Atlanta Braves just pitched them almost perfect, almost to perfection, and that's what I noticed. Why they didn't score more runs and why they didn't hit better? Because the Braves were able to pitch almost perfect in every situation that they were out there, especially the lefties.
And now, on our last program of this LCS, of course, we'll have a Who's Pedro's Daddy segment, but it will not be just for this game. It will be for the entire series. We have nominees. Wait a minute! I can't believe that Eddie Rosario. Whoa! I think our voters misunderstood.
That's a game, Daddy.
They're thinking just the game. We're thinking the series. There's no question that Rosario is your daddy for the series.
For the series, it is Rosario. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything else from this kid. At the right moment, every moment they ask.
Well, you know it's okay to have a stepdaddy too.
Oh, believe me.
Uncles, cousins, papa.
Well, even though Rosario had the big hit, Matzek had the big sequence when the Dodgers were threatening, so maybe the fans have it right. Matzek is apparently your daddy tonight. We'll find out for sure when we come back.
I don't know. I'm always off the box.
Way out.
41,000 plus fans have now left Truist Park, but the players, their families, the front office people, various folks connected with the Braves are still savoring the moment. Some still spraying champagne around the clubhouse. Many of them have come back onto the field, holding up the 2021 National League pennant. Okay, welcome back. Throughout the NLCS, Loan Depot is the presenting sponsor and official mortgage provider for MLB, and they want you to know that home means everything. You can hear players relive memorable moments by logging on to MLB.com/home-is-everything, and you'll hear about moments like this one.
Going, struck him out, throw down, got him, double play, and the inning is over. Strike him out, throw him out, inning over.
Plenty of heavy hitters in that Astro lineup. Martin Maldonado is not one of them, hit under 200 for the year, but what a receiver and what a defensive catcher.
That man has been able to do that for a little while now. When I mean do that, is catch the ball and throw it. And, you know, you heard Correa talking about where's that been all season long. It's something about that, the waters in that Caribbean that has produced some great catches with some great arms, and he's probably the latest.
And Bob, for me as a pitcher, I much rather see you go over for the entire series, but call my game. Call my game. And I'm not being, you know, like selfish.
Oh, it's okay.
But I just need my catcher to be on top of the game, to guide everybody else, to give me that sense of you know, confidence that you need when you're on the mound. And this guy is great at calling pitches, is great at handling not only who comes from the bullpen, but the entire starting rotation. They have done an outstanding job, and that was the way they beat Boston, because this guy was putting down the right fingers. So if he hits 200, it's okay. I'll take it. 150, I'll take it. But I would love a good game and a good defense.
You know, ask the pitching staffs and pitching coaches and managers in St. Louis for the better part now of 2 decades about Yadier Molina, who was a contributor with the bat. But they tell you, I don't care if he hits nothing. We want him behind the plate.
That's exactly right. And it's a great feeling to know that just like the Braves did, they could bounce anything. And no one was there to block it. I saw so many pitches that could have probably changed the game. That not just keep blocking, and putting the right fingers down.
So important, man on third. You know, you want to throw the splitter, you want to throw the sharp breaking slider, whatever it might be. You can't have the fear that your catcher won't block it.
and you want to make sure you can call all pitches at all times, especially as the games start to get tight. You don't want to take away one of their best weapons. And one of the things that we saw in this series was the stolen base. And he's able to control the stolen base. So watch that to be a key in the World Series, knowing that we just can't run at will against the opposition.
And as a base runner, there was nothing more frustrating, especially when you're on third and you have a guy who has a good split or just wipe out curveball. You're waiting for the ball in the dirt. Give me a chance. Give me 2 feet. Give me 5 feet. We have good catchers. They know that. They take pride in doing that and looking at you winking because they know you're waiting for them to let one get by.
Okay, Houston knocked Boston off last night, so that's an extra day's rest. Plus they're home waiting for the Braves to get there. How do we see this World Series, the first 2 games in Houston?
I'll tell you what, I'm excited to see, before I see the players play, the strategy that they're going to have, the lineups, the different lineups, how they're going to use a little bit beat up pitching stuff that they have, because we cannot say Houston is going to be as good as they were entirely for the World Series.
Yeah,
but we can say
is they're without Lance McCullers.
We can say the same thing about Atlanta. These guys were really used a lot by the managers, and I'm intrigued to know how they use the strategies. 2 old managers, 2 old school managers that know how to really handle the game and get the feel for the game and the situation.
Well, we know for sure Charlie Morton can open for the Braves on Tuesday.
And Framber Valdez, another guy that was able to go like the old school 8 innings against Boston, a real good team and a hot team that was really smashing the ball.
You know, one thing about the Astros, among many, they have guys who will hit for power. I think they lead all of baseball in 2-out RBI hits. At least in this postseason they do. They do the little things as well as the big things very well.
And I think there's 2 big things that are going to be key here. One, they also don't strike out. They have low strikeout numbers, and the fact that this game is starting in Houston. We talk about home field advantage, but I think this time, more than any other series in this playoffs, this is going to be the big one because they're playing in their ballpark that they do so many great things in for a number of different reasons. So it'll be interesting to get Game 1 and Game 2 there.
And they do things very similar, Bob. They play defense. They don't strike out much. They pitch. They have better bullpens than we all know, both of the teams. And they have 2 managers that really know how to handle the game and get the best out of the players. They have Rosario burning on fire, and they have the other kid, the Cuban kid in
Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez.
Jordan in Houston, who just got also the NLCS MVP as well. So it's going to be interesting to watch these 2 teams that really pair each other. I think these 2 teams are really level.
This is too much fun to call it a night just yet. So at least one more segment, which includes Who's Pedro's Daddy? Back with more on the postseason show presented by Hyundai.
The postseason show on TBS is brought to you by the Hyundai Santa Fe and Tucson plug-in hybrid EVs.
And as we prepare to wrap things up here from Atlanta moments ago, Dave Roberts at the podium. Here it is.
Pretty clear-cut choice in the 4th between Walker and Vesia for Rosario, maybe even for the pinch hitter. Take us through that decision.
I just felt right there the way Walker was throwing. I expected him to keep going, and the stuff wasn't compromised. There was a walk to Darnell, then the broken bat double, and I just felt that he had enough stuff to get through that and to keep going. He got ahead 0-2, and we just couldn't put him away.
Does his big game reputation in that situation sort of factor too?
I just felt in that moment he was the best option. I think that you're looking at the 4th inning and where Walker, how he's throwing the baseball, I felt he was the best option. And, with what he did this year, he was amazing. And right there, again, we got ahead and we just couldn't put him away. And you got to give credit to Rosario, who put a great swing on a 1-2 cutter in, or whatever it was.
Okay. Down in front here, Juan. Hey, Dave, what was kind of your message to the guys after that?
The message was, you know, I think that obviously we didn't. First off, let me just congratulate the Braves, the entire organization, Brian, his staff, Alex, his staff, and what they did. The players, coaches, those guys did a fantastic job, and they beat us in a series. So wish them well. I think for my message to our guys, it was basically, it was a tremendous season. It was a heck of a year. Going through a lot of different things that we went through that no one talked about, no one needed to talk about, and didn't let it affect our performance. And that's something I was proud of. To win 106 games, to go through a wild card game, to then be pushed in a 5-game series against a division rival, to come out of that, and to be 2 wins away from going to the World Series. I think for me, I wanted those guys to be proud of that, because the entire organization, not just the guys in the room, you know, there's people that all across our organization that worked really hard for this season, and to say that it was a lost season or a wasted season or anything, you've never been in a major league clubhouse and understand the sacrifice that people make. So it's still not lost on any of us that we didn't accomplish our goal. But for me, I'm giving credit to the Braves because they outplayed us, plain and simple.
Dave Roberts, thoughtful and classy as ever. Here's an overview of the Dodgers season.
And they had one heck of a season. I mean, the road that they had to get to this point was tough. Taking on the Cardinals in the wild game, then going on to the Giants, being pushed to the brinks, and then coming out fighting with everything they have, and still sitting there at the brink of going to the World Series after, you know, the year they had last year, coming into this year. The things that have happened, there was a lot of things that went right, there were a lot of things that went wrong, but through it all, they fought. They never lost their way, and you have to respect them as champions and what they did as an organization. They kept the team together. They were without Clayton. They were without a number of guys that they expected to be there, but yet they were here.
And it's crazy that you end up in this situation, still only 2 wins away from the World Series after all the losses. Kershaw, Muncy, Turner, Kelly. I mean, you can't just keep hoping that we're going to pick up those guys and pick up those guys, because those are guys, those are names. Once you start to lose those guys, the wind is eventually going to get blown out of the sails a little bit, and we saw that happen here against the Braves. But like Doc said, the Braves outplayed them. They were the better team in this 7-game series. But Pedro, out of those free agents that are there with the Dodgers, any of those guys you see coming back?
Yeah, I can see them kind of moving forward, especially not knowing what's going to happen with Bauer. I think they need some of those guys. Kershaw, I would love to see finish with the Dodgers.
Sure.
Scherzer, if it's in his wheelhouse, in his own interest to come back, I'll probably keep him too. I mean,
they have the resources to do it if they're so inclined.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, and that's why I'm saying it. But it was interesting to me to hear Dave Roberts say that there were some things that happened that nobody told, and they don't need to be told. But that happened, and the entire team knew about it.
Yeah, that was a cryptic comment by Dave.
That was a little bit of something that we probably don't know and won't know. But interesting for him to say that. And it's beautiful to see that the Dodgers, even with the low blows they had towards the end, were able to still play such a professional game and such an exciting game, and made it exciting for the Atlanta Braves. I mean, they didn't want to go away.
Jimmy, one last thought before we get to who's Pedro's daddy.
Well, the Braves can finally say we can close out a series. Congratulations to the Braves. Go on. You have the Astros coming up. Celebrate tonight, but you're not done. And now we get to find out.
Here you go. Time for Who's Your Daddy? Presented by Buffalo Wild Wings.
I mean, what can I say? Just tip my hat and call the Yankees my daddies.
Well, how about that? He's inspired by you.
Dominican undercover.
And the mariachi guys back at Dodger Stadium.
And he also went after me, went to Puerto Rico with Eduardo Rosario the other day. But
get all my secrets away, Petey.
That's okay. You hanging out with me, man.
Okay,
Hey,
Papa.
we have my daddy.
¿Quién es?
We got to have a double-barreled who's your daddy? Who's your daddy for the game? Who's your daddy for the series?
Well, for the series, we're going to go to Puerto Rico. For the series, we're going to go to Puerto Rico.
Look, the fans
with
have
Eddie
flipped
Rosario. I mean, Eddie Rosario is going to take the series MVP. but for this game, the MVP is Tyler Mazik. I'm going to go with Mazik because you saved the game where the game called for it. And he did it today in an outstanding way. This kid really showed me a lot more than I ever knew about him. And it wasn't just this game. It was every game he was called to do that. He did it. He is my daddy for today, and I'm riding on the plane with him because I'm going to Houston too to see the World Series. So I might be on the plane with him.
I thought you were going to Florida to go fishing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a day, but then
one day.
I'm gonna hop on a plane and I'm gonna go see my daddy back in Houston, continue to do what he's been doing. So,
well,
congratulations.
They're celebrating here in Atlanta, but in only a couple of days, you've got a big celebration coming up. Not just a birthday, a milestone birthday on Monday, 50.
Yes!
Feliz cumpleaños, viejo.
Muchísimas, viejo no, baby. See?
Sí, baby viejo.
I got mucho daddy, so I'm a young buck. I reborn every day.
50, prime of life.
Yes. Thank you,
good,
thank you all. It's been
good.
an honor to be here with you guys, and
Pedro, what a pleasure. So much fun.
Pleasure is always mine. I enjoy this.
You know what I would do.
I enjoy my teammates.
J-Roll, thank you.
Bob, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Curtis, so much fun.
And for you guys, the TBS, the entire crew, everybody that works around,
Great job.
I love
Great
you.
job.
They
Dominic
love
back there, the man
this
with the
wouldn't
numbers.
happen
Joe keeping us
without
on
you,
set.
Joe.
The cameraman keeping us looking beautiful.
Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Ernie Johnson for letting me keep his warm. For Curtis, Jimmy, for Pedro, that's a wrap for the postseason show presented by Hyundai.
One
the
time,
Braves
Bob.
are the champs of the National League.
Give us one, Bob.
On to the World Series. And for now, good night from Atlanta.